everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have not been putting this vlog off, but there's a very valid reason to do it now, more so than ever. I get a lot of questions from my clients and or people in general. They're like, you know, you seem so positive. How do you stay so positive when your surroundings can sometimes be negative? And I know I touched a little bit on this in various different vlogs on how you sort of, like in the last vlog where I said you set up boundaries to sort of protect yourself, and that's great. And yes, by all means, go back through all my vlogs and look at all of my tips and tricks. But it's definitely one of those things where now is definitely the time to do this video because there's so much negativity. That's kind of what I'm gonna label it. I mean, it's probably deeper than negativity, but there is so much negativity that's going on here in the States. Well, really all over the world, but for my all over the world, for my international viewers, I do know that you have your own global situations that create such negativity. And here, between a lot of devastation from Mother Nature, hurricanes is right down to massacres here in Las Vegas, it leaves you very heavy, and it makes it very difficult for you to try to figure out, how am I supposed to stay positive? I get questions from my clients all the time, which I wish I had this answer, where people say, well, why do bad things happen to good people? Don't know, right? And I can't be like, well, it's supposed to happen, because I don't know. I have no idea why bad things happen to good people. I don't know why good things happen to bad people either. So let's cover that real quick. So I don't really know the answer to that. And I don't think anybody is supposed to know the answer to that. Maybe that's just the way I think, because it's my viewpoint, but I don't think that we're supposed to know everything, because that would make it a very crazy, strange world that we live in, because you would always be on guard, because you would always know something was going to go on. So I think in some way you're just not supposed to know. It doesn't have to make sense. I can't make sense of it. Nobody else can make sense of it. But what you can do is work through your emotions that you have about whatever the situation is. Of course, this is a very tragic situation, and there's no real comparison to it, especially if you have somebody who's involved in the situation. But there's negativity all around you all the time, okay? And I'm a huge social media user, obviously. I'm on YouTube now. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Snapchat, and I utilize Twitter. I utilize all of those, and I actually really prefer things like Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram over Facebook, because at least for me, this is what I found, and it's actually a proven fact from the psychiatry community, that if you invest a lot of time into, and I'm going to use Facebook, it's not an attack on Facebook, it's just that's a place where people really have a lot of liberty to do whatever they want. You can put your opinions up there, you can put memes up there. I do memes. You can do anything and everything. You can say, I ate 5 pounds of chocolate today. You can say, I hate this person. You can say anything you want, okay? And there's a lot of subliminal postings where, you know, passive aggressive people make a post, and then you're like, is this about me, or what is the situation about? That creates a lot of negativity, right? So that negative energy just breeds on itself. So in a tragic situation, some of the many tragedies that have happened, especially over this past year, this year that we're in, is how do you try to stay positive without being non-sympathetic to whatever the case may be, okay? So that's kind of this juggle thing where you're like, you know, we have things here just over the last 6 months, to just cap off a few, is we have the hurricanes, plural. We have Puerto Rico that's basically inhabitable right now. We have had this horrendous gun massacre in Las Vegas. We have people's right or non-right, whatever your opinion is, on the NFL protests. Not a political vlog. Don't care to get into my opinion on that. However, it does affect you. Okay, if you turn on the news, if you buy the newspaper, if you turn on social media, realistically, we're in a place right now where the media does one of two things. It's either very, very positive or very, very negative. Hardly positive. That's because there's not a lot of positivity going on in the world. So the best way for you to handle situations is your reaction to things. First of all, if you're passionate about something, stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for that. However, you want to be careful of standing up and trying to push your belief system on somebody else. You want to be careful of that, because that's going to create a lot of negativity, because you're always going to get pushback. We're all individuals. That's why we live in this world that we live in, right? So everybody has sort of free will. Not everybody in every country, but here in the States we have free will. And that's the beauty of it, right? So, but there's always a yin to the yang. So what do you do? How do I ground myself? So yesterday I went for acupuncture because I needed a mental break, because it was very stressful and sad for me. So I went for a mental break. I tried to do my walks. I tried to eat better. I tried, you know, all of the things I've talked about in previous vlogs. And each day it becomes that much harder to do, but you have to do it. So you have to figure out a way. And I don't have a tool to tell you this. I can tell you what works for me, right? So for me, if you see a situation, and I'm going to use Facebook because you have the ability to do this on all of your platforms. But on Facebook, if you find a post that you're looking, or that you're following somebody on Facebook, and you find that it starts to make you really, I mean, look, everybody's gonna have opinions. So if you went through Facebook, you just might as well deactivate your Facebook, because everybody's gonna do or say something once or twice that you're not gonna agree with it. And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, what? Because that's how people are in this world. I mean, that's how we all are, okay? So if you find a post that you really don't like, but you really like the person, just go up to your little corner of that post, hit the little arrow, and in that arrow, it'll say unfollow this post, or unfollow, like you can mute your notifications for that one if you've made a comment, because sometimes that's annoying too. You make a comment on Facebook and everybody else comments and you keep getting these notifications. You can unfollow your notifications, and you can unfollow that thread. So you don't have to unfollow the person, but you can unfollow that thread. So it's little things like that. Great thing about Instagram that I love so much, people aren't putting a lot of political stuff on there or personal stuff. It's pretty pictures or happy things, or, you know, it's a really good platform for me. Okay, Twitter's the same way, because if you don't like somebody on Twitter, you just unfollow them, right? Or you can even mute it. You can also mute that person. And Snapchat, if you don't like somebody, just don't open their Snapchats. So some of it is on you, right? So you do your due diligence on, and this isn't just about sad global things that are happening. This is in your life, okay? You're going to be confronted with situations that are negative. You're going to be around people who are negative. You can't avoid that, but you can avoid how you respond to it. If you disagree with something, remember, and this is, you know, everybody has free speech here, and we are allowed to write whatever we want. What we're not allowed to do is to be mad at somebody if they make a comment under something that you've posted that you don't like. Then don't put that out there. You have to be, when you put something out there into the social media world, or even at work or somewhere else, when you put something out there, you have to know that you're allowed to get the feedback. Okay, it might not always be feedback that you want. Whatever. Okay, if that's the case, then just don't ever post anything and go into a corner and hide. But it's how you respond to things. How do you respond to seeing such sadness? Obviously inform yourself. I'm not telling you not to be aware, because you want to be educated as to what's going on in this world, in the entire world. You need to be educated on it. You can't just stick your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't exist. And my personal sort of thing that I'm personally invested in is animal welfare. I always have been. And so I watch the terrible videos. I do that not because I get enjoyment out of it. I do it to educate myself. So when I'm talking to people about why you should ban dog fighting, or why I don't go to zoos, or things like that, you want to have an educational stance, not just because I don't believe in it. So you want to be able to educate yourself on things, but don't take the energy from those things. And if that means you have to separate yourself for a minute, go out and do meditation, go out and get something to eat, go out and do something, then do it. But just remember, everybody does things different, so there's no right or wrong. But if you sit home and you try to figure out how not to feel the way you feel, or you can't undo something that's been done. Okay, you're allowed to have an emotion, but you can't undo something that's done. So if you feel passionate about something, take action. You know, for me, when the hurricanes hit, I sent money to the animals, not to the animals, but down to take care of the animals that were misplaced. I will always do that. If I was in the local area in Las Vegas to give blood, I would have done that. If there becomes a crowdsource thing, and I know that it's a reputable thing, because I still always sort of look into it and make sure that the things are legit before I just donate money to them. But whatever's needed for the victims, I will try to donate whatever I can. And if financially, if you can't afford to do that, you can still donate. Sometimes they're taking clothing, things like that, or just time, or just reaching out and writing an email about something, doing something, okay? So if you feel passionate about something, stand up for it, but just remember not to take on the negativity. You can only control you, and you can only control your actions. You cannot control another human's actions, and actions that have already been done, there's no sense in dwelling on those actions. You have to figure out how can you prevent, if you can, prevent those actions from affecting you, and how you can help those actions not affect other people. It's a lot of work, right? But I see a lot of people, and I've been getting a lot of calls on, I'm really sad, I don't know, how should I talk to my kids about that? And I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm a very different person in my home. I do not run a traditional household. My daughter, she is 10, and she knows pretty much everything that goes on. If it's a shooting, she will know about it. She has seen the footage. If it is something that is horrific, she will see it, because that's how we operate. Other people may not feel comfortable doing that, and that's fine. Like, I don't hold on to that. And I don't really care about the judgment that I would receive in my situation, because you have to understand, when you let your perception rule your life, that's exactly what it's going to do. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's hard. You know, there is no answer on how do you live positive in a negative world. There's like no basic answer to that. But I can say for me, what I do is I utilize a lot of things that I have in my hands. Being able to get out and go for a walk, eating better for myself, balancing myself, centering myself, getting a facial, getting a massage, doing whatever it is that I need to do to just escape it for 5 minutes. And it doesn't have to be global. It could be something where you're miserable at work, you're miserable at home, whatever the case. You've got to be able to find a way to cope and not get caught up in the spin cycle of that negativity. And educate yourself, but if you need to turn off if you need to turn off social media or the news for a little bit, just to kind of like say, okay, this is too much for me, then by all means do it. But stay educated and stay informed, okay? So not every blog is this heavy, but it is something that people have asked, you know, how do you stay positive? And I mean, I don't have, it's practice every day, I told you that. So it's just do what you can. If you are capable of helping in any situation, a friend, a neighbor, strangers, if you're capable of helping in any way, do that. That's how we put the positive energy back out in the world. Please like my videos, subscribe. I do new vlogs on Monday and Thursday of each week. Hit the bell in the corner for notification. Stay positive, and I'll see you next time.